contamination, preservation, and the spoilage of fruits and vegetables. So today we are going to see which are the different sources of contamination of these fruits and vegetables, then how can we preserve fruits and vegetables, and also which are the different types of spoilage that occur in fruits and vegetables due to these microorganisms. So let's start. First we will see about the contamination of fruits and vegetables. As we all know, fruits and vegetables can be contaminated at any point during the production chain. So, at each and every point of production, there is equal chance of contamination or equal chance of microbial contamination of fruits and vegetables. Sources of the contamination can be broadly divided into two groups. So, the different sources that will lead to the contamination of fruits and vegetables can be simply divided into two groups, namely the pre-harvest and the post-harvest sources of the contamination. Then what is this pre-harvest source of contamination? The soil in which the fruits and vegetables are cultivated can act as a pre-harvest source of contamination, and also water we are using for the irrigation, water used to apply insecticides, and also the different types of fungicides we are using, fecus, dust, improperly composted manure, and finally the human interactions with these vegetables at various points during the production period are the most important pre-harvest sources of the contamination of the fruits and vegetables. So coming to the contamination of fruits and vegetables, there are equal chance of contamination of these fruits and vegetables at any point of production chain, and broadly we can classify the source of microbial contamination of these fruits and vegetables into pre-harvest and post-harvest sources. Then coming to the pre-harvest source of contamination, soil, water, fecus, fungicides, insecticides, manure, and also human interaction will act as the pre-harvest source of contamination of these fruits and vegetables. Next is the post-harvest source of contamination. It includes fecus, harvesting equipments, human handling, insects, wild and domestic animals, and also different methods of transportation, processing equipments, dust, and all the water we are used for rinsing. So coming to the post-harvest sources, after the harvesting of these fruits and vegetables from the field, we are moving to different steps, and each steps are equally there is chance of contamination, or there is chance of microbial contamination of our fruits and vegetables. And the post harvest source includes the fecus and also different equipments we are using for the harvesting, and also the human handling. The humans can act as a source of contamination, also different insects, wild and domestic animals, and also the transportation methods or the transporting vehicles, and the processing dust in the processing equipments, or the water we are using to rinse some fruits and vegetables will act as the post harvest source of contamination. The use of the pond and river water in the washing fresh produce places them at a higher risk of contamination, since these waters are most likely to contain some pathogenic microbes. So the use of the pond and river water is also lead to the contamination of the fruits and vegetables. It is high risk to use the pond and river water in order to wash or rinse the fruits and vegetables. Watering, washing, handling, and the storage are the major sources of the contamination with the microbes. So the either watering, washing, handling, and even the storage will act as a microbial contamination source. This diagram shows the different sources of contamination of the fruits and vegetables. It may be the droppings from poultry and other domestic animals, irrigation water, spray of pesticides and insecticides, or the different transportation and packaging methods, improper or inadequate storage condition, unhygienic packing material, unhygienic utensils used for processing, untrained laborers, unhygienic handling methods, and also some post-harvest handling, collection methods, soils, organic fertilizers. All these act as the source of contamination of the fruits and the vegetables. Then coming to the preservation techniques, coming to the preservation of the fruits, the different methods we are using to preserve the fruits are the asepsis. Asepsis simply is the keeping away of the microorganisms. So by following proper hygienic conditions, we can keep away the microorganism from the fruits to a certain limit. The next one is the use of heat. We can use the different heating methods to remove the microorganisms from the fruits, and also we can use low temperature, that is chilling or freezing. So we can store in the low temperature in order to prevent the contamination of the fruits by the microorganisms. And so also another simpler method of preservation is the drying. We are commonly using the drying methods in order to preserve the fruits, and also by reducing the moisture content or water content of the fruits by drying methods, we can store it for prolonged time. Since the moisture content is low, most of the fungus and bacteria cannot survive in these fruits, and hence it will decrease the microbial contamination of the fruits. Next is the use of preservatives. Many natural and artificial preservatives are used in order to preserve the fruits for long times. Many preservatives are commonly available, and by applying these preservatives, either natural or artificial preservatives, also we can preserve the fruits for long term. And also another method is we can simply use the simplest methods to remove the microorganisms. Common methods, household methods can be used to remove the microorganisms and thereby prevent the contamination, or we can preserve the fruits. The same methods are also adapted for the vegetables also. So for fruits and vegetables, the preservation methods are asepsis. Asepsis is the keeping away of microorganisms or the prevention of occurrence of the microorganisms. Second one is the use of heat, or we can use of low temperature drying methods, or we can add different preservatives or use simplest methods to remove the microorganisms. Next important topic is the spoilage of microorganisms. So the deterioration of the raw vegetables and fruits will result from the physical factors or due to the action of their own enzymes or due to the microbial action or combination of these methods. So the deterioration or the spoilage of the raw vegetables and fruits will occur either from the common physical factors or the physical injury, or due to the action of the enzymes which are present in the fruits and vegetables, or due to the infection by the microorganism, or sometimes it will occur due to the combination or one or more of these agencies. Then coming to the mechanical damage resulting from the action of animals, birds or insects, or from wounding, bursting, cutting, freezing, etc., or other mishandling will lead to the increased enzymatic action, or will lead to the entrance and the growth of these microorganisms. So the different mechanical damage that will occur on the fruits and vegetables will lead to the increased enzymatic action, or it will act as a source for the entrance and growth of the microorganisms, and there will lead to the spoilage of the fruits and vegetables. And also previous damage by the plant pathogens may make the part of the plant used as a food unfit for the consumption, or it may open the way for the growth of saprophytes and spoilage by the. And also some previous damages which will occur during the growth in the plant itself will also act as a source of contamination, or it will also lead to the spoilage of these fruits and vegetables. If the plant is already microbially infected, then there is chance of spoilage of the fruits which we are collecting from that plant. And also the contact with the spoiling fruits and vegetables will bring about the transfer of organisms, causing spoilage and increasing the wastage. Another important factor is that if you are keeping the raw or fresh fruits and vegetables in contact with the spoiled fruits and vegetables, then there is high risk, or it is chance of transfer of these organisms, which will lead to the spoilage of the fruits and vegetables, and also increased wastage also. And then improper environmental conditions during the harvesting, transit, storage and marketing may favor spoilage. So the most important factor we have to consider is that the improper environmental conditions which are using during the harvesting, storage or the transport, and also during the marketing is the important source that will favor the spoilage of the fruits and vegetables. So now we will see the general types of microbial spoilage that occur in the fruits and vegetables. First one is the bacterial soft rot, and the main causative organism is the Erwinia carotivora and the related species, and they are the fermenters of the pectin. So the causative organism, so the pathogen behind the bacterial soft rot is the Erwinia carotivora. Besides this, Pseudomonas marginalis, Clostridium, and the Bacillus species have also been associated with these rots. And also it results in a water-soaked appearance, soft mushy consistency, and often bad odor. So the diagram shows a bacterial soft rot affected carrot. The first type of the microbial spoilage is the bacterial soft rot. We have to remember that the causative organism can be either Erwinia carotivora, Pseudomonas marginalis, Clostridium, or Bacillus. So coming to the symptoms, water-soaked appearance, soft mushy consistency, and often bad odor. The third type is the rhizopus soft rot. So from the term itself, it is easy to remember that here the causative organism is a rhizopus, and example of one species is the Rhizopus stolonifer, and it is characterized by soft and mushy rot, and here the cottony growth of the mold occurs with small black dots of the sporangia, which often covers masses of the food. So the third one is the Rhizopus soft rot. Easy to remember that here the causative organism is Rhizopus. Example is the Rhizopus stolonifer. Coming to the symptoms, it is characterized by soft and mushy rot, and here there is cottony growth of the fungus with a small black dot at a sporangia, which often leads to the full coverage of the food. The diagram shows the carrot infected with the rhizopus. Next one is the anthracnose. It is one of the most severe microbial spoilage of the fruits and vegetables. Here the causative organism is the Colletotrichum species. Example is the Colletotrichum lindemuthianum, Colletotrichum coccoides. Coming to the symptoms of this disease, it is characterized by spotting on leaves, fruits, or seed pods. So there is equal chance of the infection on leaves, fruits, or the seed pods. And the diagram shows the Colletotrichum infected chili fruits. Fifth one is the alternaria rot, or here also from the name of the disease itself, the causative organism is clear. Here the pathogen is the Alternaria tenuis and other Alternaria species, and coming to the symptoms, areas becomes greenish brown early in the growth of the mold, and later turn to brown or black spots. So in the case of Alternaria rot, the causative organism is the Alternaria species. Example is the Alternaria tenuis. Coming to the symptom of this disease, the area where the fruit is infected will become greenish brown in the initial stages, which will later turn into black spot. Next one is the blue mold rot, and here the causative organism is the Penicillium digitatum, the bluish green color that gives the rot its name, result from the mass or spores of the mold. So the next type is the blue mold rot. Here the causative organism is the Penicillium digitatum, and from the name of the disease, it is clear that the fruit infected with this penicillium is characterized by the masses, blue colored masses spores on the fruit surface. The next type is the downy mildew. Here the causative organism is Phytophthora, and the mold will grow into white woolly masses. So the case of downy mildew, the causative organism is a Phytophthora species, and the symptom is that the white woolly mass of the fungus on the surface of the infected fruits, leaves, or vegetables. Here the diagram shows a grape leaf which is infected with this Phytophthora species. There we can see that white woolly mass of the fungus on the surface of this leaves. Next one is the watery soft rot. Here the causative organism is a Sclerotinia sclerotium, and it occurs mostly in the vegetables and fruits. There is equal chance of watery soft infection on the vegetables and fruits, and the causative organism is the Sclerotia sclerotium, and the diagram shows watery soft infected guava fruits. Okay, next one is the stem end rod. Here the causative organism is either Alternaria fusarium or fusarium, and it mainly occurs in the stem end of the fruits. From the term itself, it is clear that the infection occur at the stem end of the fruits, and the image shows an apple fruit in suffering from the stem end rods, and the causative organism or the pathogen can be either Alternaria or fusarium species. Next one is the black mold rod, and the causative organism is Aspergillus niger, and the rod get its name from the dark brown to black masses of the spores of the mold. And the next type of the spoilage is the black mold rod. Causative organism is the Aspergillus niger. Symptom is that dark brown to black masses of the spores of the mold on the surface of the infected fruit or vegetables. In the day from the image, we can see that there is a dark brown to black mass of the spores of the Aspergillus niger on the surface of this vegetable. The next one is the pink mold rod. Pathogen is the Trichothecium roseum, which have pink spores, and from the name itself, it is clear that here there is, we can see that the pink spores on the surface of the infected fruit or vegetables. We can see that here the tomato suffering from the pink mold rod with pink colored spores on the surface of the fruit. And the next one is the fusarium rod, and definitely the causative organism will be Fusarium. It contains a variety of rods which are caused by many species of the Fusarium. Here we can say that a white colored mycelium of this Fusarium on the surface of the sweet corn. Next is a green mold rot. Here there is a green colored fungal growth on the surface of the infected fruit or vegetables, and the causative organism is a cladosporium or a trichoderma. Green mold rod, we can see green colored fungal growth on the surface of the infected fruit or vegetable, and the causative organism is a cladosporium or trichoderma. Next is a brown rot. Then there will be brown discoloration on the infected fruits and vegetables, and the causative organism is a sclerotia species. And the last one is a the last one is a slimeness or soring, which are caused by many saprophytic bacteria. So these are the different kinds of microbial spoilage which occurs on the fruits or vegetables. And we can say that the fungal spoilage of the vegetable will often results in the water-soaked mushy areas, while the fungal rods of the fleshy fruits such as apples and peaches will show brown or cream-colored areas in which the mold mycelium are growing in the tissue below the skin and aerial hyphae, and the spores will appear later. So commonly we can say that in case of the fungal infection on the vegetables, it will lead to a water-soaked mushy areas. While in case of the fungal infections of the fleshy fruits like apples and peaches, it will lead to brown or cream colored discoloration in which the mold mycelia are growing in the tissue below. So where the discoloration occur, definitely there is a mold mycelia below that skin, and later the spores of this fungus will appear. In the later stages of the fungal infection, we can see the spores. And in so commonly, or broadly, we can say that in case of the fungus spoilage of vegetables, the major symptom is that water soaked mushy areas, and in case of fruits, it will lead to some discoloration, and later then we can see about the spores. And in case of some types of fungus spoilage, there is a chance of dry rots. So not only moist rots, in some cases there will be dry rots due to the fungal infection, where the infected area will become dry and hard and also discolored. So in most cases, the fungus spoilage will lead to the water soaked appearance, but in some fungal cases, the infection will lead to the dry rots, where the infected area will become dry and hard and will be discolored, and the rots of the root juicy fruits will definitely lead to the leakage of the fruits, and the composition of the fruit or vegetable influences the type of spoilage. So coming to the fungal spoilage of fruits and vegetables, you can simply say that in the case of vegetables, this most of the fungal infections will lead to a water soaked mushy areas, and in the case of fruits, it will lead to the discoloration and later the appearance of the spores. And in some case, in case of some fungal spoilage, it will lead to the dry rots, where the infected area will become dry and hard and also discolored. In the case of fungal rots of juicy fruits, it will will lead to the leakage of the fruits. And the most important factor that influences the appearance is the composition of the fruits or vegetables. So with the type of the fruits and vegetables, and also depending on the type of pathogens, the type of spoilage also varies. So the important factors that will lead to the development of symptoms is the type of fruit and also the type of pathogen. Okay, next we will see about the spoilage of fruits and vegetable juices. So, besides the raw fruits and vegetables, fruit and vegetable juices are also equally susceptible to the microbial spoilage. Juices may be squeezed directly from the fruits or vegetables, or may be squeezed from the macerated or crushed material, or may be extracted by water. So, different methods are used for the juice extraction from the fruits and vegetables. Either we can directly squeeze the juice from the fruits or vegetables, or we can first macerate or crush the materials and then squeeze the juice, or may be extracted by using water. These juices may be used in their natural concentrations, or may be concentrated by evaporation or freezing, and may be preserved by canning, freezing, or drying. So, after the juice preparation, we can either be used in their natural concentration, we can directly consume it, or we can concentrate by evaporation, or we can by using freezing, and for later usage we can preserve by using canning, freezing, or drying. So, coming to the fruits and vegetable juices, we can prepare it either by directly squeezing out the juice from the fruits or vegetables, or can be macerate or crush the material and then squeeze the juice, or may be extracted by using some water. After the preparation of these juices, we can either directly consume them in their natural concentration, or we can concentrate it for later usage, and by we can use the different methods of evaporation or freezing for concentrating, and also after the concentration we can preserve these juices by canning, freezing, or dry. So in all these steps there is equal chance of microbial contamination of the fruits and the vegetable juices. The juices which are squeezed or extracted from the fruits are more or less acidic, and depending upon the product. So compared to the fruits, the juices which are squeezed or extracted from the fruits, they are more or less acidic than the more or less acidic depending upon the product. The mold can grow on the surface of such juices if the juices are exposed to air. So after we are preparing the juices, if we are exposing it to the air, the mold can easily grow on the surfaces, and the high moisture content of these juices will favor the faster growing yeast and bacteria. So these juices are thus more susceptible to the molds, yeast, and bacterial contamination. Due to the high moisture content of the juices, the yeast and bacteria can easily grow in these fruit and vegetable juices and will lead to the spoilage. Coming to the removal of solids from the juices by the extraction and the sieving will raise the oxidation reduction potential and favor the growth of the yeast. So, the removal of the solids from the juices by different extraction and the sieving methods will raise the oxidation reduction potential and will favor the growth of the yeast in these juices. And the most of fruit juices are highly acidic enough and have sufficient sugar to favor the growth of these. So, the fruit juices are highly acidic and also high in sugar content, and it will favor the growth or the spoilage of these juices by the yeast. And the deficiency of the vitamin B will discourage some bacteria, but the juices are also susceptible to the bacterial contamination. In addition to the usual alcoholic fermentation which will occur in the juices by microbes, some fruit juices may undergo other changes. And the example is the lactic acid fermentation of sugar by the either heterofermentative or homofermentative lactic acid bacteria. And coming to the common types of spoilage that occurs in the juices by microorganisms, first one is the lactic acid fermentation of the sugars, and it can be either by the heterofermentative or homofermentative lactic acid bacteria. And the example of the heterofermentative lactic acid bacteria, Lactobacillus pastorianus, Lactobacillus brevis, and coming to the examples of the homofermentative lactic acid bacteria is Lactobacillus and the Microbacterium. Okay, the second type is the fermentation of the organic acid of the juices by the lactic acid bacteria. Example is the Lactobacillus pastorianus, and the third one is the slime protection on the fruit juice by the Leuconostoc mesenteroids, Lactobacillus brevis, and Lactobacillus plantera in apple juice, and by Lactobacillus plantera and Streptococci in grape juice. So these are the common type of microbial spoilage that will occur in the juices. Then vegetable juices usually contain sugars but are less acidic than the fruit juice and having pH value in the range of 5 to 5.8. So coming to the vegetable juices, they contain less sugars and also less acidic compared to the fruit juices. And the normal pH range of the vegetable juice is between 5 to 5.8. And the vegetable juices also contain plentiful supply of the accessory growth factors which will favor the microorganisms and hence support a good growth of the fastidious lactic acid bacteria. So these vegetable juices are less acidic and also contain less sugar compared to the fruit juices, and their pH range is between 5 to 5.8, but they contain many growth factors which will favor the growth of microorganisms, hence accept a good medium for the growth of these bacteria, and this will lead to the spoilage of the juices. Then the concentrates of the fruits and vegetables, because of their increased acidity and sugar concentration, will favor the growth of the yeast and of acid and sugar tolerant Leuconostoc and the Lactobacillus species. So the concentrates which we are preparing from the fruits and vegetables, because of their increased acidity and sugar concentration, will also favor the growth of the yeast and the microbes. And examples are the Leuconostocs and the Lactobacillus species. So that is all about the contamination, preservation, and the spoilage of the fruits and vegetables.